This is Too Much Coffee with Jason and Kevin. Join us as we dive into music, movies, games, and tech. Part news, part entertainment. Grab a mug and let's start the show. All right, welcome to the show, episode 17 of Too Much Coffee. We're glad you're here. Oh, this is going to be a fun one this week. I'm feeling some good energy today. This is going to be a lot of fun.
You should have the show in stereo, and in the left channel, it's just nothing but shilling the whole time, and the right channel is the show.
It's like a subliminal message, like when you're watching a movie and bam, popcorn pops up for a fraction of a second, so fast you can't even see it.
Yep,
brilliant, guys. We're going to talk about some Star Wars today because everybody's talking about Obi Wan. These are not the droids you're looking for. With the great Ewan McGregor, reprising his classic role as Obi Wan Kenobi. And we haven't done a Star Wars show yet, and we haven't talked a lot about Star Wars, so we're making this the Star Wars show. We're talking all about it, all the way. We're going all the way back to the late 70s. We're working our way all the way through the whole series and up to Obi-Wan. We're going to share our thoughts about it. But before we get into that, I've got news stories that I think you'll like. Number one, did you know that there was a show called Friday the 13th? Not the movie. I'm talking about a television show. So I was listening to this. Everybody knows who the Angry Video Game Nerd is, right?
Yeah.
I was listening to an old video of his, and he was talking about every Friday the 13th movie all the way through. And he was, which is, I don't know. Do people watch Friday the 13th anymore? They're
fun movies.
I went through the first
Jason
four.
Takes Manhattan has one of my favorite deaths ever in any movie.
Which one was that?
It's where it's on the roof, and that kid keeps punching him. He just takes the punches, and he gets too tired out. He tires himself out. He says, "Take your best shot." And Jason just grabs him by the collar and just punches his head off, and it flies into a dumpster.
Yeah.
That's the best thing ever. I could watch that a million times over.
And the classic one where he picks the person up in the sleeping bag and smashes him against a tree. The person is completely inside a sleeping bag, and he goes, Louisville Slugger right into a tree. And actually, the AVGN was talking about how at some point the MPAA was really cracking down on like the violence and stuff in the movies, so they had to really tone down the kills a lot. And originally, that death in the movie was like he just kept whacking the sleeping bag against the tree, whack, 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 whack. But they're like, you cannot just endlessly smash this person against a tree. Once is enough.
Yeah.
And so that's what happened to it. But
interesting.
Anyway, he was talking about all these movies, and he mentioned this Friday the 13th television show, which I had never, well, I'm sure I've heard of it before, but I guess I've never seen it. So I looked into it. The only noteworthy thing, well, it went for 3 seasons, so I guess people liked it, but it has absolutely nothing to do with the movie at all. So it's called Friday the 13th, the series.
Yeah.
You would therefore think, whatever, Corey Feldman's character's in it, or somebody from the movie, or, Jason is in it.
Yeah.
The killer, maybe the killer's in it. None of that. Nothing. It's just this show about some people who get an antique store and they give away these cursed antiques.
Yeah. And
then they have to put them back for some reason. And the only reason that it's called Friday the 13th is because the guy, I think who was running the show, the guy who is the executive producer, he worked on the Friday the 13th movies. And he's like, hey, look, if we just call it Friday the 13th, people will watch the show.
Yeah.
And I guess it worked. So anyway, it's just
I'm kind of looking a little bit right now. I feel like I've seen it at some point.
Yeah.
Now that I'm thinking about it, but I don't know. It doesn't look familiar to me, so maybe I haven't.
Yeah. Well,
I think it's something else. I don't know.
It's got to be on HBO Max or something like that. You can probably stream it.
Actually.
All right. Let's do one more. Upcoming crypto regulation. So
you know it's coming, or if you didn't, you're not very perceptive.
Well, yeah. I mean, this has been coming for a long time. You can only complain. People can only get ripped off and complain to the SEC and the Trade Commission and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So many times before something's going to happen. Now, this is happening because of all the Russia stuff. Russian sanctions.
Oh, maybe.
And there's some concern, supposedly. And so there's some concern like Russia's going to get around all this by using cryptocurrency, dude.
Yeah.
We got to do something about that, dude. So Biden is saying that he's going to do some sort of executive order. We don't know the details yet. He's getting his people to put some information together. But, you know, at first blush, you might think, oh, my God, dude, crypto is going to be regulated. But this might be the best thing that ever happened to crypto, because the only way crypto is useful is if you can use it for stuff.
Yeah.
If I can't buy things with crypto, then the average person has no need for it.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's not a real currency.
If I can't buy a Kit Kat bar or go to get a Blizzard or, you know, get my car washed or any of that stuff with whatever, then I don't need it.
Yeah.
Unless I just want to buy it to have it, or if I'm, you know.
Well, for right now, it's just sort of speculation.
A lot of it's just people trying to make money.
Yeah.
A lot of it's Bitcoin is just it's a whole vibe. It's a whole movement. It's a thing, you know. It's like Bitcoin. It feels like a whole, people want to get away from our current system. They want to get into something else. You know, I don't want the government breathing down my neck.
Yeah.
Messing with my money, which, you know, if you sell Bitcoin, you got to pay taxes on it.
Yeah. I mean, also, it's still money. It's not a different system. It's the same thing.
Right. It's really only as useful. There are people who really want to go all in and say, look, who cares how many dollars it's worth? A Bitcoin is a Bitcoin is a Bitcoin. It's like, I get that, but that's not where we're at now. Right now.
If you're talking about that, that would be a long way off at best.
Right. So anyway, regulation maybe in some sense, this may be a great thing for crypto, because in a way it gives it some legitimacy, more legitimate. It's already legitimate to a lot of people, but when governments are like, okay, this is definitely part of life.
Yeah.
This is a threat to, we're so worried about it, we're going to have to make some rules about it.
Yeah.
So in a way, you're sort of inviting it into your system, which in a way kind of makes it lame. It's because the cool thing about crypto is like, we're in the Wild West. Boy, I got this money. I got this secret money that's in my wallet. Nobody can touch it. I can put it on my hardware wallet and completely unplug it. And nobody can do anything about it.
Yeah.
If you lose your own password, and there are lots of those stories where somebody, oh my God, heartbreaking stories where somebody bought some Bitcoin, 15 years ago or 10 years ago, and then lose the password.
Oh, that sucks.
And they're like, I'll give you 20% or half of my Bitcoin if someone can please figure out how to get the code out of this thing.
Yeah.
Sad. But anyway, crypto's like, I'm in the Wild West, son. I got this money that's just our money. We made this money. It has nothing to do with the government, and this is what we use.
Yeah.
But now it's being brought into the fold.
Yeah. I mean,
which was inevitable.
That's what happens with anything, really. I mean, it's going to get regulated at some point.
Yeah. That's enough for the news for today. Let's get into we've got a new little thing here we're going to call Internet Gold.
Ooh.
Kevin has found
Internet Gold.
Internet Gold. Do you guys remember MySpace? Are you too old for MySpace? If you're listening to this show, I pretty much assume that you're old enough to remember MySpace.
Yeah.
I assume that everybody listening to the show is just me and you.
That's probably accurate.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see the age breakdown.
Yeah.
I definitely remember MySpace. For sure.
I was on MySpace. Yeah. I had a MySpace page. We had a band MySpace page.
Yes, we did.
We had this harebrained scheme where we were like, oh, let's get some publicity. I'm just going to go through and add as many people as my friend on our band page as possible.
I remember that metal band or whatever. It was like, what do you think? You think we'd want to have anything to do with your power pop bullshit or something like that?
Oh, I forgot about that.
That was on MySpace.
They told us that.
They told you that. You told me about that later. You tried to follow them, and they sent you back a message about how, like, you think we want to have anything to do with your power pop bullshit?
That is beautiful. I forgot about that. Well, let me tell you something, boys and girls. MySpace is back. It's called Space Hey, a space for friends, and it is set up just like classic MySpace.
Yeah,
if you
looks
get
exactly like MySpace.
Yeah, go check it out. This is like a blast from the past. This is like a nostalgia trip. Jump in your nostalgia rocket and zoom on over to spacehey.com. You open it up. There it is. It looks like MySpace.
Yep.
All right, let's take a look at this. All right, first of all, just a little information. Space Hay, it's only been around for like a year and a few months. Yeah. So like November of 2020. And already it's got over 100,000. It had over 100,000 users in a month. So this guy who made this site, this was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, all right, I'm clicking on home. Let me see. Let's look for some friends.
Let's add some friends.
Okay. Cool new people. Let's see
what
we got. Let's click on a cool new person.
We can make a Space A account for the podcast.
This is beautiful. This looks just like MySpace used to. Just as ugly as MySpace ever was. All the categories about themselves. We got an anime avatar pointing a gun at me. I feel threatened.
You need the gifts. You need the little like.
Oh my God! Look at this, Kevin. Can you see this?
Gift that makes the stars fall off your microphone or something.
Look at this. Look at this insanity. Okay, I open this one. The background is insanity. The banner is insanity. See, the thing about MySpace.
It's like MySpace, but it's high resolution now.
Oh, true. The thing about MySpace was you could use CSS and HTML, and you could do craziness on it. I mean, you could put all these animated GIFs on your page. You could customize the backgrounds and your banners. This guy's got. It doesn't look like it. He's using some sort of CSS property or something to create these geometric things that are actually hypnotizing me. I think I'm about to fall asleep.
MySpace is kind of the
hurry.
I mean, it was super cool. You could really customize. You can make it your own.
So anyway, that's internet gold. Go check out Space Hay for yourself. If you spent any time on MySpace, it is going to be a complete nostalgia tornado. You're going to get swept up in it, and you're going to relive old times on Facebook. Remember Tom? Remember all the ugly, ugly pages you went to? You'd go to a MySpace page, and it would take forever to load.
Yeah, so I was going to say, the best thing is when people have a million GIFs and a song loading, it would take ages to load a song on your, at best, like 1 megabit a second DSL internet or whatever.
Anyway, go check out Space Hay. It's a lot of fun. We're going to start, in the future, we're going to start diving into some old internet stuff. Just really old internet, Wild West, janky, dangerous, all the stuff that you can't have on the internet nowadays. We're going to talk about some of that stuff. I'm actually really excited about diving into that stuff because it's like the internet used to be like cryptocurrency was in 2013. Like
it was both terrible, but also cooler in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because nowadays it feels like everything is sort of consolidated into a few websites.
Yeah.
We had a million websites back in the day.
Yeah. That's what happened. Yeah, that's what happens. I mean, these big companies and venture capital and whatever. It's inevitable. But back in the day, man, the internet was a really different place. And like you said, in some ways it was horrific, but the freedom that you had also made it very interesting.
Yeah.
You know. So anyway,
a lot of very interesting corners of the internet. I mean, there's still a lot of interesting stuff on the internet. But
absolutely.
Harder to find now.
Oh, well, I mean, there's definitely some spicy stuff on the internet. And I don't really even know where to look for all that stuff, but there's some spicy stuff on the internet for sure. Let's talk about the journey from George Lucas to Disney Star Wars. I feel like Disney Star Wars has been a disaster, mostly. They have made some irreversible mistakes that have been disastrous. Not to say everything they've done has been terrible. People like The Mandalorian, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think they missed a massive opportunity. And they just... When the sequel trilogy came out, that was so bungled. Yeah. We'll get into it. Now, the reason we're talking about this is because I noticed that Obi Wan was trending on Twitter. And I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" So, the show. I'd heard about it a while back that Disney is doing an Obi Wan show. People were talking about it because it's on a magazine cover and it's like a teaser trailer is out. All right, original trilogy. The look, the sound, the vibe, perfect. Yeah. Is Luke a great hero? I don't know. Luke might be even a little annoying, really, when you think back to it. He was always a little whiny and annoying. But the story
That's true.
was fun. It was filled with action. You got to go to all these different planets. Darth Vader was cool.
Yeah.
The lightsabers were cool. The like the planes, the X-wing, and the pew 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 pew. That was all really cool. And the rebellion is part of the rebellion against the Empire.
Yeah.
And I love how George Lucas would start the movie off with a big, great shot in space of a ship just going by. That's so great. That was a great way to start the movie.
Yeah.
Han Solo, all-time classic.
Yeah.
Which, of course, Harrison Ford, I guess, hates or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he likes playing Harrison. I don't think he cares too much
What's
for
his
Han
problem?
Solo.
Yeah. I saw him play a newscaster in like a rom-com last week. And you don't like playing Han Solo?
I know he's talked about it, but I don't remember what his reasoning is. You'd have to look it up. I think he just didn't dig the script very seriously.
Well, I guess if you think back to the original, like you said, the first movie, you're shooting it. It's not anything except something you're working on. All the characters were a little thin.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of depth to the characters in A New Hope.
Yeah.
Really. It's just like a fun, maybe slightly dumb, like space action, rebels versus the Empire kind of movie. But it was elevated by the actors were great.
Yep.
The cinematography was great. The special effects were very good.
Making a lot with very little in it.
Right. And like I mentioned earlier, just the music was so good and the aesthetic was so good. All that elevated.
Yeah.
What could have been, if you'd given that movie to another director, we wouldn't be talking about it today.
Yeah.
But they made magic. All the people that were working on that first movie turned it into something special. And then I guess once he made that first one, it was like, oh my God, I got a hit. Then that's when it started to spin out. It's like, oh, okay, well now we got to make some more movies. And you start the retconning started almost immediately. Like,
yeah,
I think in the first one that what's his face, Obi Wan said that Darth Vader killed Luke's father. That was immediately retconned in the second one when we find out that spoiler alert. Darth Vader is Luke's father.
Well, look, he meant it metaphorically.
Well, that's what they say. And actually, I'm fine with that. I can live with that. But that was something they changed.
Yeah.
Actually, George was changing it from day one. Like, ever since the movie came out, he was messing around with it. I don't know. I don't know if George Lucas is like a great... I don't know. Just some magic. It's like lightning. And, things just happen sometimes.
But I feel like the consensus for a lot of people is that, like, George Lucas needs to be told no every now and then.
Yeah.
Sometimes he has like dumb ideas, I guess, whatever.
Right. He is a man of vision. He's a man who can come up with a whole idea and execute it. But I think you're right. He needs editing.
I didn't like the prequel trilogy, apparently, on rewatching it. So I guess that's true. And that was all him.
Would you say you disliked it or that it was bad? Or you just didn't like it as much as you remembered liking it?
I'm not going to say I disliked it. Or let me rephrase. I'm not going to say it's bad. I will say I disliked it.
Yeah.
I disliked all of them. I didn't like any of them.
Oh, not even the third one?
Mm-mm.
Revenge of the Sith?
Nope.
You didn't like all those crazy sword fights where they're jumping all over the place?
Nope.
Man, that's the one thing that stands out to me more than... Okay.
Which is kind of weird because, once again, I remember liking the third one.
Well, okay, the first one we get Qui-Gon and Obi Wan. Now, that was great. I liked Liam Neeson and Ewan McGregor in those roles. I thought that was
that's
awesome.
true. I did like that.
Yeah, those were great. Darth Maul was so weird. Like, he did nothing.
Yeah.
He existed to be killed in a sword fight at the end of that movie.
Yeah. I will say I do like all the casting in it.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. It's like, sometimes things are greater than some of their parts. To me, like the prequel trilogy, I guess, was like less than the sum of its parts. There's so much cool like when you say this stuff, it's like, man, there's so many cool things, but just like the experience of watching, I didn't like it all for some reason.
Yeah, it just didn't.
Oh, I do remember that the effects really did not age well.
Right. Well, it was CG at that point.
Yeah,
it's all computer graphics now.
Yeah,
instead of the practical effects in the early. I mean, there was some digital stuff, but the early '80s, late '70s, it was puppets and models, and that stuff holds up. If you make a good model and shoot it well with the good lighting and all that stuff, that holds up. The CGI, yeah, like early 2000s, like late
Yeah,
90s CGI. No.
Oh yeah.
Oh, late 90s. Yeah, what am I talking about? All late 90s, mid to late 90s. Yeah, that's not going to hold up. Go back and watch Toy Story 1. That's,
Man, I haven't seen that in a long time either.
Anyway, yeah. Okay, so the first prequel trilogy, those movies were so huge when they came out, of course. It was such a huge event.
they're
Because you
massive.
had no Star Wars since the early to mid 80s. And so the mid 90s, like, oh my God, baby, we're getting some more Star Wars. Yes.
Yeah.
And so the first one, they go to that planet and little Anakin is like, I'm Anakin
he's a kid,
Skywalker and I can fix anything. Hey, Mom. And people didn't like the kid. Actually, the kid didn't bother me that much. Actually,
Yeah, I thought he was okay.
people used to complain about the kid. I never had a problem with him. When I rewatched it, I was like, I can see what they're talking about. But he still is fine. It's fine. He's a kid.
Yeah.
He was fine. But they did take a lot of time with like that pod race, and they spent a lot of time on that planet with
That's
him
true.
being a slave. All that
Yeah.
stuff slows the movie down. That kind of
true.
stuff was not in the original trilogy.
Yeah.
It was action-packed in the original trilogy,
Yeah.
right? I mean, they were always getting shot at, laser guns and laser blasts or training to be a Jedi. And then you get to the prequel trilogy and it's like, here is the political situation. Me and my young Padawan will go investigate.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and then we shall watch this child engage in a pod race. It's,
Yeah.
whatever. I think that's probably the main problem with them. But the action picked up in the next two, the Return of the Attack of the Clones,
Yeah.
where we get Mace Windu and all those new cool Jedi. Oh, you get all these.
No,
you
that's
get
true.
all these Jedis, and like originally,
Look,
all
once
the
again, they're all cool.
all the Jedis, in the original.
Samuel L. Jackson be a Jedi. It's
Yeah.
so cool.
I'm about to slice your head off. I can't do a real good
Yeah.
Samuel L. Jackson. I wish I could do.
Yeah, yeah.
What'd you say to me? I need a bleep on here. Beep. What'd you say to me? Yeah, by the time when you get to the prequel trilogy, they really went wild with all the Jedi stuff and all the the different. So you got what's his face, the robot that has 4 Jedi lightsabers,
Yeah.
swinging those things around, and then you got Dooku's lightsaber has like a little curve on the end of it for whatever reason.
Did it?
Yeah, and then you have like a gun. What was that Final Fantasy VIII thing he had? A gunblade. All different colors of lightsabers,
Yeah.
and some people use 2 of them, and some people have got like lightsabers that are hooked together in the middle, and they're using it like a bow staff, like Donatello and all that stuff. And you got like a million different types of aliens, which the original trilogy had a lot of aliens too. But
Yeah.
The original, okay, so the prequel trilogy just got bogged down in all these politics, all these political machinations, all this really like dramatic character building stuff. And the action ramped up as it progressed,
Yeah.
but you could say it was boring. You could say it was boring for sure. I mean, he tried to add depth
Yeah.
to the world and to the characters, which he did,
Yeah.
but at the cost of some energy. I mean, the movies are not great, but there's cool stuff in it.
Yeah.
And that's all from the original Star Wars. All this stuff was seeded back then. All the coolness carries it to this day. All the cool stuff that was created in those first 3 movies. Some people didn't like Darth Vader being like probed in that way, but Darth Vader was really an interesting character through those 3 movies. Like,
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I like
you
it.
saw how his emotions got the best of him and how he felt like he was being slighted by the Jedi Council. And it's like, no matter what I do, they're just trying to hold me back, man. They're like, they're just trying to keep me down, dude. Like, I'm the most powerful Jedi who ever lived, and they're just like crapping all over me.
Yeah, he just kind of is a slave to his impulses a little bit.
Yeah. He just couldn't or refused to understand that how could they ever trust him? Because he is not, he's unstable. He's unstable.
Yeah.
Oh, the best part of the second movie, the second prequel. I still remember this in the theater a little bit because Yoda comes hobbling in. I was in the theater when that happened. And I'm trying to remember exactly the scene. So Dooku's in there, and then all of a sudden you see like, you start to see, oh my God, that Yoda?
Yeah.
Like an arthritic man that's like barely hobbling into the room. It's like you hear his little, his cane hit and stuff, and people like, oh shoot! You hear somebody in the back, oh man, and he comes out, and then they start using the Force on each other, and then I think Yoda says, "It's clear that this will not be." Or no, Dooku says it's clear that this is not going to be settled by our mastery of the Force. And the lightsaber goes, and then people are like, oh! Oh! People start freaking out in the theater. You can imagine the energy. People have been waiting to see this for.
It's hilarious.
Oh man, I'm feeling the theater energy right now just thinking back on it. And then he pulls his lightsaber up and he starts jumping around like a freaking crazy monkey. Like, whoop, 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 is spinning and doing Xena, the warrior princess, all over the place, and he's freaking out and people are loving it, clapping.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
That might be the best part of the whole trilogy. Just seeing Yoda jump around like a lunatic, spinning around in a circle. It was great. So the prequels were flawed.
Yeah.
Not terrible. A little boring.
I will give you all a little anecdote about young douchebag Kevin Fowler
Oh, let's hear it.
going to see with some homies.
With the homies.
Going to see the third movie in theaters, I think at midnight. And you had people going in costume and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think we were driving around trying to find a parking spot at the theater. And there were some guys like right beside our car dressed in, like Luke Skywalker or whatever. Maybe it wasn't Luke, I don't remember. But they were dressed like Star Wars characters.
Something.
And I rolled down the window and shouted, "Star Trek sucks."
Yo, nerds! Yo, nerds! Star Trek stinks! James T. Kirk stinks, nerd!
That's when you cut in a sound of some sort of sound from Star Trek.
By the way, we could do a whole episode about those Star Trek movies because they're terrible too. The new ones.
Are they? Oh, you're talking about the new ones.
If you turn your brain all the way off, they're very watchable. But if you start to think about them for even a second, they suck.
I remember enjoying them, but I don't remember anything about them, honestly.
Well, they're very enjoyable. But they're also, the more you think about it, the more they fall apart.
Yeah.
In my opinion. If you just watch it and you sit there, you just let all the action wash over you and like everything looks cool and it's moving and blah, blah, blah. But the instant you turn your brain on and start picking at it, it all falls apart. Jenga, the whole thing falls down.
Yeah.
Anyway, another day. So, all right. And then the new, so Disney buys it for like, hold on. Let me get this number right. $4.05 billion in 2012. Yeah. They buy Star Wars. I don't remember what people felt about it at the time. I think Disney has gotten a bad reputation lately.
Yeah.
I don't know if they were I don't know if people felt like that at the time, if people were just like, wait, let's see what happens, or maybe, this is awesome, new life for Star Wars, or
is Disney buying everything up, basically?
Why in the world would George Lucas sell it? Maybe he felt like he was out of ideas.
Oh, I don't blame him for selling it all because, George Lucas gets a lot of shit for his decisions in making Star Wars. And he's like, yeah, I'm out. Fine, have it.
Maybe he felt tapped out. He's like,
I think that was literally it. He was like, I'm tired of dealing with it.
And he actually gave him some ideas. He's like, hey, here are my notes. Here's what I was thinking about doing.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all. Like, he gets a lot of shit. He's like, I'm done with it. Tired.
Disney, but yeah. Oh my gosh, people savage him.
Yeah.
People like super fans is savage. Freaking idiot. What do you think?
I'm doing quotation fingers. Super fans that don't seem to like anything.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's sort of one of the things.
Base.
That's one of the things that sort of is I feel like there's always a lot of negativity around anything Star Wars related.
Yeah, there is a lot of,
maybe a little bit less now because there's a lot of good series, like The Mandalorian and stuff like that.
Well, the thing
everyone
is,
seems to like, but
whenever you capture lightning in a bottle, like those original movies, everything is going to pale in comparison. Yeah, you can't live up to that. They just created an incredible world. Yeah, that's what it did. Yeah, and so once you try to flesh that world out, you start adding to it. The more you fiddle with something, the more you're giving yourself an opportunity to screw it up. So Disney buys Star Wars. Everybody's hyped up about these new Star Wars movies. Yeah. they pay all this money, and then I don't know all the details, but basically what happened is they're like, oh, we're gonna make some Star Wars movies. Makes sense. Got to make that money back. And they just, I don't know. J.J. Abrams does the first one.
Yeah.
The first one is almost beat for beat a repeat of the original movie.
Yeah.
And you're like, what? I'm watching this like, why are you doing that?
Yeah.
What's the point of making a new Star Wars movie if you're just going to completely copy everything that already happened in the first one?
Yeah.
Is this supposed to be a bridge to connect me to the old movie? I've already got the old movie. I don't need a repeat of the old movie. So what they did was they let a different director handle each movie, and they were just sort of given, freedom to do whatever they wanted, which sounds crazy to me. There's an argument about, oh, did they plan it or did they not plan it? Well, here's a little piece of an article that says, while some, Adam Driver, have stated that there was a very clear plan for the character arc of Kylo Ren, we've also been told that as each episode of the sequel trilogy was written by its respective writer, there were no instructions given to them and no specific direction or plot points that needed to be handled. That's the crazy part to me. Everybody had the freedom to create whatever Star Wars movie they wanted. And that sounds good on paper, and freedom's great, but it's difficult to look at this trilogy and see anything other than people writing to cross purposes, and that's exactly what happened. So, JJ does the first one, boring ripoff, of the first movie.
Yeah,
Ryan Johnson does the second one, and I don't know what happened. It was just I don't know what happened. No one knows. These guys only these guys know what they were thinking in their heads. But the second one does not build on the first one in any way. The story's weird. The main bad guy dies in the second movie instead of the third movie.
Yeah.
And a huge chunk of the movie just feels completely useless.
Well,
it's a weird movie and it's terrible.
Let me say this real quick.
Say it.
That's actually one of my favorite Star Wars movies in general. I don't know. I like a lot of what it was doing. I don't know why people complain about the casino section being pointless.
Right.
It's furthering the character of Finn a little bit. They're adding a little complexity and I guess a little darkness to the Jedi, which I think is probably what a lot of people didn't like. That they weren't just the unequivocal good guys. They were, another group with their own sort of aims.
Well, I didn't like the Jedi in the prequel trilogies.
Yeah.
I thought they were sort of bureaucratic and weirdly uptight. I didn't think they were great.
Yeah.
They were bureaucrats basically back then. So I had no great love for the Jedi. What bothered me about the second movie, basically the unforgivable sin they committed that I referred to earlier.
Mm-hmm.
They had Luke, Leia, and Han all still alive, and they were able to use them one more time for these new movies.
Yeah.
And Carrie Fisher died during the making of these movies. So that chance is gone.
Yeah.
It can never be, they'd never get that chance back. And they were completely squandered, in my opinion. I feel like they destroyed Luke Skywalker's character. I know many people have said that.
I don't agree with that.
Could he have been any lamer in that movie?
He could have been way lamer.
Half of the movie is just him saying, no, and then turning around and walking away. Luke, will you help me? No. I couldn't stand it. So the story is he's training Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
Kylo Ren does something he doesn't like.
Mm-hmm.
So he runs away and lives by himself on a planet.
Yeah.
That just makes me sick. Ugh. That's what you decide to do with Luke Skywalker. And then Rey shows up and bothers him, and he's like, "No, I'm not doing anything. I'm not training you. Leave me alone." And he does that.
He's the last Jedi.
10 or 15
He's just
times.
trying to let him die out.
Yeah, and that's fine. He doesn't have to be a quote Jedi.
Yeah.
I thought I just felt, and this is a matter of taste, of course, but I'm just telling you that what bothered me about it was that his entire all the goodwill built up from 1978, 9, whatever, all the way to that point. They finally are they're dusting this character off, bringing him out again to put him in the movies again. Oh my God, Luke Skywalker is back, baby, on the big screen. We got a new Star Wars movie.
Mm-hmm.
And what do they do with him? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
I
Nothing
disagree.
interesting.
They did do a lot of interesting stuff with him. I think it's an interesting subversion of the character.
Yeah, the subversion is the problem. It's like, oh, I wanted Luke to like be awesome and like do cool stuff and go out in a blaze of glory because it's a movie and I want movies to be fun and awesome, and the characters I like to be fun and awesome.
Well,
I don't want that to be subverted.
Yeah.
That's
I
just,
guess,
that's
I
my,
don't know.
yeah. That's my take on it. Make a new character a sourpuss jerk who just doesn't want.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna drink this milk and live in my hut by myself. I'm playing Chinese checkers. Leave me alone.
Hell
I'm playing
yeah.
Chinese checkers all by myself. Give me a drink.
Hey, he came around to the end.
Wait, I'll get it myself.
He came around to the end and helped him out. Did that weird illusion thing.
Oh, the thing where he casts like a hologram of himself
Yeah.
across on another planet.
Yep.
Yeah, he did do that.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible force power. He just learned. Could he always do that? Or did he just learn
Probably.
that for that moment?
Powerful Jedi, man.
Seems a bit much to
Yeah.
me. Yeah. Has any Jedi ever been able to do anything like that?
Look, powers are in us, I guess.
That's a bit much. And what's
I
her
don't know.
face could do way too much too. Ray?
Who, Ray?
Yeah, with no training, she could do way too much. Didn't she do? She was trapped in that room.
Yeah.
Okay. Trapped in that. No, this woman has never been trained.
Mhm.
This woman's trapped. A stormtrooper comes in and she does the mind trick on him.
Yeah.
Now, why could she do that? She shouldn't be able to. It's too much. And she's fighting.
Yeah.
She is sword fighting. Listen, if I picked up a lightsaber right now and tried to fight someone, I'd cut my own head off. You have to be trained to fight with a sword. You can't just sword fight
I'm trying to remember
with
because
no training.
I feel like this is a point people made that I once again disagree with a lot.
You think somebody should just be able to pick up a lightsaber? I know she's
No,
good with
what
the
I'm-
Force,
no,
but
what I'm saying is that I think a lot of people over exaggerate how good she is at things. What I'm thinking of is actually in the first movie, like
Yeah.
people are like, oh, she can like pilot this spaceship or whatever immediately, the Millennium Falcon or whatever.
Right.
But it's like if you watch it, she doesn't do a good job. She like barely gets off the planet.
Right. Well, I mean,
That's the one. That's the example I'm thinking of. But
That's
I can't
iffy
remember.
too. But and then she's like fixing the ship. And it's like, I don't know. That's a bit much. But that I can let slide.
Yeah.
She just can do too much.
Mhm.
That's it. She's way too good for having no training. You remember when she and Finn fight Rilo? Ken. Now Rilo is a powerful Jedi.
Yeah.
Got powers. Knows how to use a sword. And I know he's been hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So, whatever. I guess that's part of it. But then they win in combat against this guy. It's like, what? So remember at the end of The Last Jedi when they're in the room together
Mm-hmm.
and they're like back to back fighting against the Imperial guys and she's just kicking a bunch of ASS.
Yeah.
What? But then again, go back to the original.
You're
Why
telling-
is Luke Skywalker able to fight Darth Vader? Sword fight with Darth. You see the things that Darth Vader was doing in the prequel trilogy?
Yeah.
Luke Skywalker can't handle that. When it comes to matters of taste, I mean, if it just comes down to one person saying I liked it and another saying I didn't like it, I mean, there's no
There's
no argument to be had.
I agree that
If you like it and then I don't like it, and vice versa, that's just what it is.
yeah.
I love tomatoes. I hate tomatoes. Okay,
That's true.
You're
and
both
I agree
right
with you.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're doing a podcast. And it's,
Yeah.
it's a little boring. We're just like, well, I liked it.
I liked it. So
Like,
what?
Why? Well, I don't know. I just liked it.
I said I liked it.
That's
boy.
right.
And from my perspective, I felt like Luke, Leia, Han, I feel like they all got shortchanged. Like, if you can bring them back for one more movie, you gotta give it. I feel like they were second fiddle. Like, they should have been the stars. Maybe they should have all been the stars of the first
I don't agree
movie.
with that.
Maybe they should have all been not the stars, but maybe they should have. Maybe what they should have done was in the first movie, Han, Luke, and Leia play a huge role, and then at the end of that movie, it passes on. Like, maybe that first movie is a transition movie where it passes to the next generation, where we start with the classic heroes, because they were in the movie.
Yeah.
If you're going to use them, I mean, if you don't want to use them, don't use them.
Yeah.
That's perfectly valid, but they did.
Yeah.
So maybe if you use them, and I know I'm armchair, quarterbacking, but if you're going to use them, maybe in the first movie you give them a great prominent role, and then pass the torch at the end of the movie, and then pass it to the new characters. Well, like for instance, you talk about character development. Han Solo is exactly the same Han Solo as he was at the beginning of the first movie.
Yeah.
In the Force Awakens. Why is that? The man is now, he's back to being a he was a general in the Rebel Army.
Yeah.
In love with Leia. And now in the new trilogy, he's back to being a smuggler who owes all these people money and is like just gallivanting around, like just being a dirtbag across the galaxy.
I will say,
again,
you might have to fact check me on this, but I'm pretty sure Han Solo wanted the character to die in the first movie.
He did want him to die, but he didn't have to revert in terms of character.
That's true.
They changed him back to what he was in the first movie. It's like, homie, he's 70-something in this movie.
Yeah.
And he's Han Solo at 25 now again. He should have progressed as a character. But the problem is this the whole problem with the whole first movie, which is that they're afraid JJ.
Yeah.
Now, Ryan Johnson will do anything, apparently. He wasn't concerned about what the characters were.
Yeah.
But JJ was like, man, I got to keep as much of this old school sweetness as I can. He didn't want to change anything. He's like, let's put Han in the same clothes he wore. Let's make him the exact same smuggler he was when he was in his early 30s.
Yeah.
No change. It's weird to me. Okay, so anyway, the second movie I found a complete disappointment, and actually, I hated the second movie so much I didn't even watch the third one.
Yeah,
because by that point I'd lost all confidence in Disney Star Wars. My opinion, they bungled it completely. It's a complete
they
mess.
should have had a very clear through line for all three movies.
Oh my god,
for better or for worse, because it is very disjointed. And the third movie, I didn't like the third movie at all. The third movie kind of went back.
JJ did the third one.
Did he? He
did.
I felt like it was kind of a little fan servicey, I think.
Well, I think what happened was JJ did the first one, Ryan Johnson did the second one.
Yeah.
And just completely derailed everything that was set up in the first movie. So now they're like, well, God, what are we going to do now? They brought Emperor Palpatine back. Now, I didn't see the movie. I'm just going by what I've heard. And I feel like I could critique that movie based on just what I heard, but I won't because I haven't seen it. But I think they tried to roll back some. So it's a mess. It was a complete mess.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking,
that's true. They should have had some, for better or for worse, some kind of through line for whatever it was going to be.
They should at least have had the major arc of the movie planned and said that you could give the director a lot of freedom and say, look, you're free to, add characters and mess with this and that and blah, 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 and do character development the way you want to. But the main story arc is this.
Yeah.
Now play within that structure. They didn't even do that. It's insane to me. You spend $4 billion, Disney. You get like the hottest property on the planet. And then you're like, all right, whatever, just do it. That's nuts.
Well, the answer is Disney was just like, it'll just print money.
Whatever.
Yeah, they're like, it'll print money.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they made their money,
Yeah.
What do they care? Probably, but. And then, so you got the new Disney Star Wars movies. Now you got Rogue One.
Which is my favorite Star Wars anything at all, period, ever, actually.
The one where that tells the story of them getting the plans for the
Death Star.
Death Star.
As a matter of fact, I think it's the only Star Wars movie I actually own, physically.
Did you just say it's your favorite of all time ever of any?
Anything Star Wars related.
Number one Star Wars.
Yep.
Wow.
Rogue One, it's my favorite.
That's a statement. Why?
I'll tell you exactly what it is.
Why?
I can tell you very briefly what it is. And I like stories that are very like self-contained. You have an arc and it just ends, and there's no like sequel to it.
Rogue One might be the best Disney Star Wars movie. That movie's worth to me. That movie's worth watching just for the last 2 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
The hair on the back of my neck was standing up. I've actually heard people say that this was so lame, but I was like, what are you talking about? That's the best part. So if you haven't seen it, Rogue One ends exactly where New Hope picks up.
Yeah.
Basically. So they got the plans on the ship, and they're trying to get the plans. They're trying to get the plans, and Darth Vader is hot on their heels.
Yeah.
And they're, oh my God, just thinking about it, like I can feel the goosebumps pulling up on my skin. I love this part. So they've got the plans, and they're taking it through. And Darth Vader is hot on their heels, and he is like, and people are flying against the wall, and he's cutting people in half, and he's he's like, and this guy's like, ah. As a matter of fact, I think the door is closing, and he hands the plans through. The door's closed, and that guy's killed by Darth Vader, and that's how close Darth Vader gets to retrieving the plans. That door closing. That part was so good. Just the way they shot it, where Vader is, he's sort of mostly, you can't see him that well. You can mainly see the lightsaber, and then you just see sort of what he's doing, and you can hear him. Yeah. And he's just laying waste to all these guys who are just, and they're all sacrificing himself just to get these plans. Just to preserve these plans to help the rebels against the Empire. That was a great part. I would watch the whole movie just to see the last 2 minutes of that movie. That was so good.
I love it.
And then there was what else? The Solo movie. Han Solo. Did you watch the Han Solo one?
I did. I did not like it at all. The opposite.
I heard people say, I read a little bit about it before I started watching it. And, it had mixed reviews for sure. Now, that movie was a mess.
The thing you were talking about earlier with Rey, where she can like do everything. She's like amazing at everything. I feel like that was the problem with Solo a little bit. It's really young Han Solo, but he has like no flaws, and he's just amazing at everything. If I remember correctly.
That's so lame, yeah. Well, that movie was a mess because they had a guy working on it, and they didn't like what happened. So then they brought Opie in, Ron Howard in, to like they brought him in and did reshoots and like revamped the whole movie. And this thing where you bring a director in to redo a movie, Anyway, that's what they did. It was a total mess, and so it ended up the way it ended up. I didn't finish it. Like I started watching it.
Yeah.
And I'm watching this movie, and like just a couple minutes in, I'm like, God, this is terrible.
Yeah.
I was so bored by it, and I just hated everything about it. And I want to say 10 minutes in, I just turned it off. I was like, this is terrible. I can't watch this. This is awful.
Yeah, I didn't like it at all.
Some people liked it. Maybe it gets better. If I stuck it out after 10 minutes, it's not fair, but I don't turn movies off usually, but it was so bad, I just turned it off. Like, I can't watch this. This stinks.
Yeah, I think it had a few cool things going for it, but I didn't like it at all, really.
So, I feel pretty confident saying that was not good. So now Disney ruins all the, messes up all the movies, in my humble opinion. So then they transition into shows. The Mandalorian. Now, to me, The Mandalorian is throwaway TV. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I watched all of it. I watched every episode. But it's fine. It's whatever. It's like watching Walker, Texas Ranger, or Kung Fu: The Legend Continues, or NCIS, whatever. It's just a show.
Yeah, it's good.
It's not bad.
I like it.
It's not great. It's watchable. You can watch Bill Burr with his, Boston accent come in. It's like,
that's
you want to break me out of prison? I help you out. What?
I completely forgot he was in there. Yeah,
yeah.
He sounded like that guy from The Simpsons.
Say chowder.
Chowder. Chowder.
Shout down.
Say chowder. Say chowder.
Say chowder. It's chowder. I'll kill you.
Bill Burr. That was a pretty fun episode. That's when they're piloting the shit. Like they've got all the stuff in the back, and it's highly explosive, and these guys are trying to take it the load.
Yeah, I think so.
And they have the meter in the ship. See, that's whatever. I won't get into all the problems I have with the show. We could do a whole show about this show, the problems that I have with it. Basically, to wrap it up on that show. Basically, Mando is like the worst bounty hunter in the universe. But he is, not the worst. He's the luckiest. That's what I should say.
Yeah.
He should have died in every episode of that show. And the only reason he didn't die is because he's the star of a show. So he's got plot armor.
Yeah.
It keeps him alive. Whatever. It's fine. It was watchable enough that I watched every episode. How about that? It was more
it was a fun
watchable than
show.
that Han Solo movie because I could actually sit through it.
That's true.
It was fine. I don't love it and I don't hate it. It was fine. Now we've got the Book of Boba Fett. Have you watched any of that one?
No, I didn't even.
I watched one episode. I didn't even make it through.
Yeah.
Not good. They ruined Boba Fett to me. I mean, Boba Fett, it's so funny that I guess he got big, but it's like he was just some throwaway character from the original trilogy.
Yeah.
And he blew up into this big thing. Like he was in The Mandalorian too, a little bit. And then he gets his own series and like this guy that they picked to be Boba Fett.
Interesting. Yeah.
Wrong choice. And it was like a CW show. That was the level of that show.
Yeah.
Bad. Just bad. It was awful. Everything about that show is bad. So Boba Fett stinks. And now all of this to say, we have a new show coming out. Obi Wan. I like Ewan McGregor. Ewan McGregor's good.
Of course, he's great.
He may be the saving grace of the show because I enjoy watching him so much, playing that character that maybe it'll be worth watching. But I have zero confidence in Disney Star Wars.
Well, we'll just see how it is when
we'll
it comes
just
out.
see.
Yeah.
We'll just see. I hope it's good. But I read that he's going to be engaging with Anakin again, Darth Vader again.
Yeah.
I'm just rolling my eyes.
Hayden
already.
Christensen, baby.
I'm rolling my eyes already. One thing all these Disney movies are doing is like we're trying to fill in every gap possible.
Yeah.
It's like don't try to fill in every possible gap in the story. You're destroying all the fun of it. Don't try to flesh out Boba Fett into a complete character. We didn't need that.
Yeah.
Don't try. I mean, when
they're
Obi-Wan,
they're trying to fan service, but not always doing a great job of it.
Yeah, they suck at fan service.
Yeah.
Disney sucks at fan
Well,
service.
hey, I'm completely indifferent to not liking fan service generally, so
yeah,
that's not my thing.
Disney sucks at fan service. They need to work on that a little bit. What they need to do is get JJ out of there, all those people, get them out of there.
Yeah.
And just get some good directors.
Well, I don't guess
and let
JJ's
them
doing
go.
anything on it now.
Yeah, well, I hope not. They might not. Maybe they need to get Kathleen Kennedy out of there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know the back.
She's the
big
big wig, right?
Stuff.
Isn't she the in charge person? She's the Lucasfilms.
I have no
She's
idea.
the head of Lucasfilms.
Don't know.
Get her out of there. They probably can't. I don't know.
I don't know the specifics.
All right.
Well,
so,
I guess Disney owns it, so they can do whatever they want to with it.
Hey, it's theirs. They can do whatever they want. They can do anything they want. They could have a whole series where Luke just gets crapped on every episode.
That's
it's
true.
Like, it's like in South Park when Kenny dies in every episode.
Yeah.
You could do a Luke cartoon.
That's true.
And it's all about the secret adventures of Luke Skywalker. And in every episode, somebody takes a dump on him.
They could have a Star Wars Mickey Mouse crossover where Mickey Mouse is a Jedi.
They can make a video game where it's kind of like Kingdom Hearts, but it's Mickey Mouse and
God.
Luke Skywalker, and they go on adventures. Use the Force, Luke.
Imagine
Make a whole series of video games
Mickey
based
Mouse
on that.
being some sort of Sith Lord is just like force choking somebody.
You get to learn. You get the whole skill tree, and Mickey Mouse learns to use the Force. Like Luke is teaching
Lord.
Mickey Mouse how to use the Force, and you get to learn all the Force
Oh.
powers. Force run, Force choke, Force lightning. You can choose. You can choose the light side or the dark side with Mickey.
Yeah.
I love it.
His
I wanna
ears
I'd
turn
play
into
that game.
horns. You do.
His skin
Become a
starts to become sallow, and his eyes are turning
Yep.
red. He's shooting Force lightning. Oh my gosh! All right, folks. So that's kind of just my feelings about Star Wars. To sum it all up, Star Wars is a great IP, but it suffers from the same problem that many IPs suffer from, which is that the people who are making the money are afraid to venture too far from the source material. And they're like, oh, what? Let's fill every nook and cranny of every character we possibly can. Let's just take all the characters that we know and just shove as much content in between these periods of time as we can.
Which is interesting because then they just like, when Disney bought it, they were just like, oh yeah, we're not, the whole extended universe stuff is
Yeah, forget that.
gone.
Yeah.
Which is an odd decision.
Which in my head, I just keep my own head canon. So on and like in my mind, the prequel trilogy or sequel trilogy never even happened.
Yeah.
So I don't care. I
don't
just
know.
make my own version.
I don't think I've ever done gone through any of the extended universe stuff.
I've never read any of those books. No,
But it's supposed to be good, and I don't know why they would just throw all that away.
I think they're a mixed
guess.
bag too. But yeah, there's supposed to be some very good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they wanted to do what they wanted, I guess. So they would completely own it, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, I guess they'd have to buy all that stuff from all those people and pay. I don't know.
Which they could do. They're Disney.
Yeah, they've got all the money in the world. They can
It's
do
like, why
anything they
wouldn't you?
want.
Yeah. I mean, Star Wars is just a money printer. So
It is. I have no. See, I was never a great Star Wars fan to start with, but any enthusiasm I had for Star Wars is essentially gone. It could come back at any time, based on a good show or a good trailer or something like that. But to me, it's dead. It's basically dead. We'll see. We'll see what happens to it. It had a good run,
see what happens.
If I could sum up my thoughts, Star Wars is an excellent IP. It's a great world that Disney Star Wars has squandered, in my personal opinion. I got no particular hate for Disney. I just don't like what they've done with Star Wars.
Yeah.
When things are lightning in a bottle like that, I mean, how can you follow that up? You just enjoy the good stuff you got and take what you can get. I think that's what Star Wars has to do. Fans of Star Wars have to do at this point.
Yeah.
If it's bad, you just ignore it. Pick out the good things you can. I mean, in The
Yeah, pretty
Mandalorian,
much, yeah.
I thought it was cool when Luke showed up at the end of it. Did you see that? Luke Skywalker shows up at the end. And I thought, oh, that's the Luke I want to see.
Yeah.
All these years later, coming up and taking little Grogu. Hey, Luke comes in like a boss.
Yeah.
You don't see his face. He comes in like a boss at the end. And they've really hyped up all these soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, these guys are the baddest of the bad. Everybody, Mando, they were all scared of these soldiers. They were waiting for the soldiers to come in and kill them, basically. Oh, someone's here. Who is it? Oh, here's a lightsaber. It's a Jedi. Comes through, takes them all out like it's nothing. Like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Just saunters through there. He's yawning. Yawning with one hand, blocking laser blasts with the other, cutting heads off. He takes out all the soldiers by himself. Gets there. Pedro Pascal says, just open the door. What? Just open the door. Comes in. Who is it? Pulls the hood off. Freaking Luke Skywalker. Bam. Now that was cool. That's what I wanted for the movies. Something more like that. So anyway, you just take the good and you forget the bad. You create your own head canon. You don't have to. Yeah. If something sucks, just pretend like it doesn't exist.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just know what? Just enjoy what you enjoy.
That's what I do with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
That didn't exist in my world.
True.
It ended after
True.
What's it called? What was the third Indiana Jones movie?
Last Crusade.
Last Crusade. Yes, that's where it ended. Can you believe they're making another one of those?
I did know they were making another one. Look, I don't keep up with anything until people tell me something.
Well, I'm telling you now, they're making another one. Yikes! All right, I think that's going to do it for today. That's the show. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. We were glad to have you. You can help the show enormously, and it only takes a second by liking, subscribing, following, and commenting. We'll see you next time.